Some people wake up on their birthday and feel nothing special. No excitement, no plans, just another Tuesday or Saturday that happens to match the date on their birth certificate. While everyone around them is asking about parties and cake and celebrations, they're genuinely confused about what the big deal is. This isn't about being sad or antisocial. It's something deeper. Watch someone like this closely. When their birthday approaches, they don't mention it. They don't drop hints. They don't update their social media or plan anything. And when the day arrives, they treat it exactly like they'd treat any other day. Wake up, brush their teeth, go to work or school, come home, sleep. Done. To most people, this seems strange. Birthdays are supposed to be special, right? That's what we're taught from childhood. Cake, candles, singing, presents, attention, the whole production. But for these people, all of that feels unnecessary, maybe even uncomfortable. What others see as being humble or indifferent, psychology suggests is actually something quite different. These individuals often share a specific trait. They're deeply comfortable with who they are, not in an arrogant way, in a quiet way. Their sense of worth doesn't depend on one special day of validation. They don't need a room full of people singing to them to feel valued. They already know their value, and it's steady throughout the year, not just on one date circled on a calendar. Think about it. Most birthday celebrations are really about external validation. The posts, the parties, the attention. It's society's way of saying, today you matter. But people who skip all that have already figured out they matter every day. They don't need the annual reminder because they carry that knowledge with them constantly. There's a concept in psychology called internal locus of control. It's a fancy way of describing people who believe their sense of worth comes from inside themselves, not from outside approval. These birthday skippers often have this in abundance. They're not waiting for others to make them feel special. They've learned to do that for themselves. But here's where it gets interesting. This behavior often starts somewhere specific, usually in childhood or teenage years. Maybe they grew up in a home where birthdays weren't celebrated much, not because of neglect, but because of circumstances. Money was tight, parents were overwhelmed, or maybe birthdays came with stress instead of joy, arguments, disappointment, expectations that never matched reality. When that happens repeatedly, the brain learns to associate birthdays with discomfort rather than happiness. So, as an adult, the person simply opts out. It's not rebellion, it's self-protection. Or maybe they learned early that they didn't enjoy being the center of attention. For introverts especially, the traditional birthday experience can feel exhausting. All eyes on you, forced smiling, small talk with relatives you barely know, having to seem grateful for gifts you didn't want while everyone watches. For someone who recharges in quiet and solitude, that's not celebration, that's endurance. Psychology research shows that introverts prefer smaller, more meaningful interactions over large, noisy gatherings. So when a birthday comes around, they genuinely rather have coffee with one close friend than a party with 30 people they sort of know. But since that preference breaks the social norm, they often just skip the whole thing entirely. Then there's another group, the deeply self-aware ones. These are people who've realized something most adults struggle to accept. They understand that age is genuinely just a number. They don't panic about getting older. They don't need the milestone marker. They're secure enough to let time pass without needing to make a big deal about each year. This kind of emotional maturity is actually rare. Most people, as they age, feel increasing pressure around birthdays. What have I accomplished? Where should I be by now? Am I behind? Birthdays become annual performance reviews that nobody asked for. But people who treat birthdays as normal days have often made peace with their own pace. They're not measuring themselves against timelines that society created. And here's something that might surprise many people. These birthday skippers often still celebrate others enthusiastically. They'll remember their friend's day, plan something thoughtful, show up with genuine care. The difference is they do it authentically, not because social rules demand it. They care about people, not performances. What does this tell us? It reveals a pattern. These individuals tend to value substance over ceremony, authenticity over appearance, depth over display. They're not against joy or celebration, they're just against fake versions of those things. There's also a fascinating concept called temporal landmark dependence. It describes how much someone needs specific dates to feel meaning or renewal. People who downplay birthdays score low on this. They don't require the calendar to tell them when to reflect, reset, or appreciate their lives. They do that work continuously, not just once a year when society tells them it's time. This doesn't mean these people have everything figured out. They're not perfect or superior. They might still struggle with plenty of things. But in this specific area, they've found a kind of freedom that eludes many others. The freedom to define their own worth without needing annual confirmation from the world. So if someone in your life treats their birthday like it's no big deal, don't assume they're joyless or damaged or missing out. They've likely just found their own way of moving through the world, one that feels more honest to them than the standard script. They're not rejecting celebration. They're rejecting the obligation to celebrate in ways that don't feel real. And in a culture that's obsessed with big gestures and public displays, that quiet confidence is actually pretty remarkable. Not everyone needs candles and cake to know they matter. Some people figured that out long ago, and they've been living peacefully with that truth every single ordinary day of the year. Thanks for watching. If this gave you real understanding, let me know in the comments. Which part hit hardest?